Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. I'm Connor filling in for Alex. Today we're going to be discussing the Big Ten Championship between Penn State and Oregon. First and foremost, I had it made up in my mind that Ohio State was going to be in the Big Ten Championship against Oregon the entire summer and throughout the entire regular season. So it's a little bit surprising for me to say Oregon against Penn State. But the Nittany Lions have a chance to win their first Big Ten championship since 2016, in which they ended up having that crazy blocked field goal return for a touchdown against Ohio State, and they ended up beating Wisconsin in that 2016 Big Ten title in Indianapolis. And here they are again with an opportunity to get a bye in the expanded playoff. But regardless of who wins and loses this game, both teams are still going to end up making the college football playoff. But obviously, the seeding could be different depending on who wins this Big Ten championship. And a lot of what this Big Ten championship game is going to come down to is the difference in the pressure rate from both defenses. Now, both defenses are really good at getting to the opposing quarterback, but they do it in different ways. Penn State is 56th in the country in pressure to blitz rate, while Oregon is 8th in pressure to blitz rate. So Penn State normally, when they get pressure on opposing quarterbacks, they bring six, seven guys, while Oregon is getting to the quarterback more consistently with bringing four and five guys. So Oregon doesn't necessarily bring the house, but Tom Allen's defense, the former Indiana coach and now the defensive coordinator for Penn State, his defense and his schemes are a little bit more aggressive with their blitz play calling. So to me, this matchup is going to come down to which receiving core can make the opposing defense pay for when they bring extra guys in the box. And the biggest question mark for Penn State the last few years has been their receiving core. They don't really have those standout studs out wide, but they do have a standout pass catcher. It just doesn't happen to be a receiver, and that's Tyler Warren. You can make an argument that either Fannin for Bowling Green or Warren for Penn State is the best tight end in the country this year. So the Oregon defense, they typically don't bring a ton of guys when they bring pressure. They normally, again, they just bring four or five guys when they try to pressure the opposing quarterback. So they're going to be able to have more guys in the back end of their defense focus on Tyler Warren, while Penn State doesn't necessarily have that other wideout that really stands out. And Oregon does have a standout wide receiver and Tez Johnson. The difference when Johnson is in or is on the field for Oregon is a huge difference to when he is not on the field for the Ducks. And for me with Penn State, can they find out or can they figure out a way to bring six or seven guys, because they normally do? That's what a Tom Allen defense does in certain situations. Can they afford to bring that blitz consistently on third downs and still play good defense on the back end without giving up explosive plays? And that's the huge matchup to watch for when you're looking at Penn State's defense against Oregon's offense. Now, the Oregon defense against the Penn State offense, as I was just discussing, obviously Oregon's going to have to completely really focus on Tyler Warren. But the weakness for this Oregon defense actually has not been at secondary. Not that it really has a weakness. That should be taken with a grain of salt. Oregon has been really good at everything. But shall I say the non-strength for the Oregon Ducks defense is the running game, is defending the run. And so Penn State, both teams here are kind of built through their running game, and then they try to attack you down the field with the passing game. So if Oregon is not able to shut down the Penn State running game, that's going to make it easier for Allard to be able to find his guys downfield, because Oregon is then going to have to commit more guys in the box, which is not something that they've really done as much this year. Oregon has been so consistent this season. So again, I'm not saying that their run defense is a weakness. It's just a non-strength for them, at least of what they've shown up to this point. So I think there's a lot of intriguing things about this game, despite it maybe not being the matchup that we anticipated for the Big Ten championship for like the last month or month and a half, if not for the entire season coming into 2024, thinking that it was going to be the Buckeyes against the Ducks. But the Nittany Lions pose a huge threat to the Ducks. That's why the spread is only 3.5 here. So obviously we made our play earlier this week. You can check that out on our channel with this game in terms of the spread. But I'm expecting a really tight game here. But until someone or some team beats Oregon, I'm not going to fade the Ducks. I'm not going to pick against Oregon. They were my third best team in my power ratings that I posted on my college football page. And again, that's CFE Grind. I would appreciate a follow on my college football Instagram page there. But I had Oregon power rated number three coming into the season because I thought this team had the depth and, at least to a large degree, that top end talent that they needed to have to take them to that next level. Oregon, the last few years we've seen, they've kind of been on the doorstep of being at that elite level, and now here they are. And ranked number one, again, they've been the most consistent team in what has been a 2007 2.0 kind of year, with a lot of chaos this season, especially among the Power Four teams. Maybe not so much with the G5 being the Power Four teams. We've only had 9 of those results this season, which is actually here's a little fun fact for you. We've only had 9 G5 over Power Four. I'm completely going on a tangent now, but here's a little tidbit here for you. We've only had 9 G5 over Power Four this year. That's the lowest number we've had in the playoff era up to this point. The previous low was 15, which occurred in 2017 and then last season. So we haven't had a ton of chaos there, but among the Power Four teams, we've had a lot of chaos with Power Four against Power Four, which is why we are seeing all these close spreads in conference championship game weekend. Okay, so that little tidbit is done. I'm going to give you a little nugget though on this matchup between the Ducks and the Nittany Lions. If Oregon is to win this game, Oregon would be only the second team, at least in the modern era with the modern format of the Big Ten, or as you can also throw in the new format with Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. Oregon would become only the second Big Ten team to beat Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State all in the same season. Only one other Big Ten team has done that, and that's Michigan State. Michigan State has done that 5 times, including most recently in 2015 when Michigan State eventually made the college football playoff, lost to Alabama in the first round. But Oregon would become just the second team, second Big Ten team to defeat so-called the Big Three, and they would be doing that in their very first year in the Big Ten. And I'm going to project that to happen. I'm going to take the Ducks to win the Big Ten championship over Penn State. I'm expecting a very close game. The difference to me is going to be, again, the blitz packages from both teams. I think Oregon can at least get home more consistently with bringing 4 or 5 guys, and Penn State's going to choose, given Tom Allen's scheme, to bring more guys more so often than Oregon will. And I think that has a potential to be the difference in the game because I think Oregon has the wide receivers to make Penn State or to make Penn State pay for those aggressive play calls, while Oregon is going to be sitting back and doing what they've been doing all season, which is only bringing 4 to 5 guys and making teams beat them consistently with those 3, 4, and 5 yard plays, making them be efficient during the length of a drive and during the length of a game. And I think Oregon's going to make Penn State really work for their yards, and I could see Oregon having more explosive plays than Penn State, and that is why I'm going with the Ducks in this matchup. I think the big plays from both offenses is ultimately going to be the difference in the game, with Oregon having a few more big plays than Penn State. Well, that'll be it for this video. Stay tuned for more videos coming up. I think Alex is going to be taking over. He's going to be back from his honeymoon. And again, congratulations to Alex on getting married. You'll probably see my face maybe on some YouTube lives with Alex, but I look forward to being more and more involved with the Gridiron Expert.